It wasn't that long ago that I thought praying 4 rosaries a day was impossible. And at the time, I was praying 1 rosary a day, and even that was a struggle for me. One night in adoration, I was praying in front of the Blessed Sacrament, and I felt in that moment that night that he was asking me, okay, now try praying 4. Try praying 4 now. And that day I prayed 4, and it was at that time that I really felt my life was really changing, and Mary was working really powerfully in really everything I did, even the little things. It was almost weird at first, seeing the way my day would fall into line perfectly. The little pieces of my day coming together, all my worries kind of started to not go away, but the weight of them, the burden of, the daily anxieties we have, they were very light and really didn't bother me anymore.
For most of my life, I struggled with a particular mortal sin, and it wasn't until after my conversion that I decided I didn't want to commit this sin anymore. And when I had made that decision, I was prompted to start saying a daily rosary. And while I was receiving the grace from that daily rosary to say no to that sin, I was still struggling severely with temptation. So when a friend advised that I begin saying 4 rosaries a day, I thought that's a lot of rosaries, but I gave it a shot. And there are 2 big things that I noticed that changed immediately. The first is that I felt immediately protected from temptation. What was once so unbearable that I had to leave the house now became so slight that I could easily say no and move on and forget about it. This was a miracle for me because I had felt imprisoned by this sin my whole life. So to be able to finally say no to it so easily felt like such a victory for me, and I finally felt free. The second thing that I noticed is that praying 4 rosaries a day and meditating on all 4 mysteries instilled in me a deep love for God and a deep loathing for sin. Because instead of it just being about following the rules because, the church and the Bible say don't sin, it now has become, I love God and I don't want to hurt him.
For a long time, I struggled with depression and anxiety, and I would feel a great interior darkness and desolation. I would also suffer from insomnia. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, and nothing that anybody said or did could make me feel better. In fact, some people were saying you need to get on medication. I want to be clear, I'm not against medication or going to doctors. Others were saying, you might have the dark night, or maybe you're having diabolical attacks. I have no idea what it was, but I do know what got me through it was praying the rosary faithfully every single day. What would happen, I would get this darkness, the anxiety would enter in, I would begin to pray the rosary, and somewhere in that rosary, it was like a spiritual wall of protection would go up. And if it was a dark night, then Our Lady in her maternal compassion gave me sweetness. If it was diabolical and evil spirits were the ones filling me with negative thoughts and clawing at my weaknesses, in that case, Our Lady crushed their head.
I need to hold on to my rosary because I don't like this subject. I was sexually and physically abused throughout my childhood, and I used to be controlled by anxiety and depression my whole life. Both were so bad that there were days that I couldn't leave the house, and I used to cry a lot and shut people out. Even my own husband couldn't convince me that he loved me because I was so convinced that I was unlovable and unworthy of love. I was in counseling for years trying to overcome these feelings, and they never went away, even with medication. But I kid you not, the moment I started praying 4 rosaries a day, those feelings of anxiety and depression were dramatically reduced. I would say just say the 4 rosaries. I know it sounds like a lot, but just try it for a week. So I pray my first rosary on the way to work with my husband, and I pray a rosary in adoration, and then I pray my rosary on my way back home from work, and then I say a rosary before I go to bed.
Just make it part of your schedule and your day flows fine. If I make the decision to do this every day, it's just part of my day and I'm gonna plan it out, you're not really gonna find time. Like, you have to we make time to pray. And I try to do it in chronological order because I think it helps going through that journey with Jesus. I've found that through the mysteries, that continual meditation on Jesus' life that really keeps me grounded in my day is always present in my mind, really no matter what I'm doing, whether it's school or work. Through the mysteries, I'm always turning back to Jesus, and I'm always turning back to what he was experiencing. And our companion, our motherly companion, she always has us by the hand, leading us every bead, every decade, every mystery. She's there with us, helping us, guiding us. She wants to help us, bring us to her Son, and you can really feel that through all the mysteries.